the thing that was really valuable about Criterion was I never saw a movie on here that I didn't understand why it was on there.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen quite a handful of them that I don't love, or some that I even am like, oh, that's not very good, you know?
Yeah.
But I still get why it's on here, and they do a good job, like, curating this great collection of just like a wide variety of foreign films and just stuff that you understand its place in cinematic history. You know, they wouldn't have a film on here that doesn't have some place being on here.
Yeah,
You know?
and I think that for me, so many films that are on there, even if they're off the beaten path, and you'll get some that are not as great. You always are willing to go with Criterion because I feel like for every 3 bad ones, you're going to get like 30 really good or interesting or just mind-expanding films. So what films did you bring today? Like just
So I chose some cliche ones for me. I always talk about these, but so I chose Close Up.
Oh,
by
it's a beautiful
Abbas Kiarostami.
Beautiful film.
I love everything by him. I recommend everyone dive into Iranian meta cinema. Him, Abbas Kiarostami, Jafar Panahi.
What's so funny is that like I feel like Close Up is like one of like the criterions that is like I see all the time. Like I see a lot of people have it, but it's such a obscure kind of movie. It's so weird that it's promoted as like, oh, it's like this is one of the first criterions you might get, but I think it's super deep and super.
It's very unique, and it's like very. It expanded what I realized cinema could do, and that's like one of the most powerful things watching movies can do for you. It's because I think a lot of we were just talking about this, but I think the best way to learn how to make movies first is to make movies. Like above everything, reign supreme. Grab a camera and make something. That's the best way to make a movie and learn how to make a movie. Second best is watching.
Yeah.
Second best, I think film school. I did go to film school. Film school is pretty low down.
Yeah.
I think doing an odd job will give you more life experience. We had Werner Herzog come in actually to my school, and he always said like never get a job in the film industry, work a construction job or something because you'll at least get
Life
stories stories to tell. But I think film watching is so valuable as a way to enter into a broader range of creativity.
Film is. Yeah.
What's your first one?
So I think that I'm going to go with Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, which is a film I know you're not super keen on, but it's a film that, for me, I think just expanded my mind on just the way that narratives can be told. And I think that I love just the, I don't know, it's just the sort of bilingual nature of the film. So it's like it's there. You got the Japanese characters, you got the English characters, you have
Hunky David Bowie.
It's just I don't know. It's just one of those films that's like incredibly emotional, and I rarely run across a film that will make me cry. Like I'm not the type of guy who's crying in every film. In Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, I was like basically like sobbing at the end, like because I don't think I've ever seen a war film that really showed the brutality of it from one side, and then we see that reverse perspective. We're always portraying like the Americans or all the allies as the good guys in every film, and I think that there's this sort of twist at the end of the movie that's just so beautiful that kind of exposes certain elements and looks at war in a more complicated perspective that I don't think necessarily every war film does. And that was just...
And it's by Oshima, so it's interesting coming from a Japanese perspective.
Yeah.
Telling this almost English-Japanese hybrid.
Yeah,
movie.
It's a really interesting just blending of two cultures, and I feel like I don't think there's a lot of movies that are like this, and the synth score is just such a weird pairing that like anything that's that brave to put a synth score to like a World War II movie is just it's got my attention.
Yeah, great. And next I got Love Streams, John Cassavetes.
I gotta see it.
I won't open it's such a big can of worms because I'm somebody who will talk about John Cassavetes forever.
Yeah.
But he's essentially the godfather of independent cinema. That's what people call him because since the 50s to 80s. Then he died, sadly. But he was creating these movies with just his actor friends and just grabbing a camera and making stuff when it was so much harder than it is now. He was doing it when it was like
actually
so many obstacles he had to overcome.
Impossible.
And I think most of his movies he like maxed out credit cards to make, and he just did it himself. And, he's like, I'll find a way to make it back later. And
which is admirable for sure.
Yeah, admirable. Maybe a little careless, but you have to be a little careless
to get somewhere, especially back in that time when it was not so easy to do it. Now you have technology that could do what he did for a fraction of the cost.
But essentially, Love Streams is the movie that makes me cry the most. It's just probably my favorite movie right now. It's his last film with his wife, Jenna Rowlands, and it's just this outpouring of love. It's just about, saying goodbye because he got a prognosis that he had 6 months to live before they made it. And it's just this beautiful outpouring of their love for each other, and it just kills me.
That's a great, I gotta see it. I'm like been saving it for a really good moment. So I'm excited. I love a lot of John Cassavetes films. So for me, To Sleep with Anger by Charles Burnett. This is one of just the most unique stories I think I've ever seen in a film. I just love so many filmmakers take an idea and they always take it to its most violent or like logically violent conclusion where it's like, oh, there's this evil guy, and so we're going to portray him as evil, like he's going to start attacking or harassing people. This is a film that really goes into the depths of what evil is, who the devil is, without ever truly showing it in an actual outward way. It's very internalized, and I think the performance by Danny Glover is the most sinister performance I think I've ever seen in a movie. It's just you just feel disgusting when you're watching him because he's just so evil.
It's so funny to hear that because the movie I've seen him in the most is Royal Tenenbaums. He's so sweet in that movie.
He's so evil in this movie, and the opening shot is the shot of it's a dream sequence, and you can see this old man is dreaming, and he's dreaming of his shoes on fire, and I don't think I've ever lost that image in my it's one of the most cinematic images I think I've ever seen. Yeah. And so I just feel like it plays with dream logic, it plays with the nature of evil and the importance of family and how certain cultures interact with each other, and I think it's just it's a beautiful movie. It's one of my favorites.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
Because I've only seen Killer of Sheep and My Best Friend's Wedding.
I've seen My Best Friend's Wedding. I haven't seen Killer of Sheep yet.
So I'll have to watch that one. Last, I got Tampopo. I know the last two were really heavy. This one's just so fun.
We're ending on fun ones.
Yeah, fun ones. This one's just such a great, it's a mix of a Western and a ramen shop, and it's got all these vignettes that run through it, and the movie almost gets sidetracked. You know, it's like the movie has ADHD, and suddenly something happens to the left of it, and it's like, oh, I gotta watch this. And then it comes back to the main story.
What's awesome about that is that it makes it just feel so whimsical that every scene you're just kind of enjoying it for what it is and not being so bogged down by oh, this has to be this narratively satisfying scene for everything. It just kind of has that.
It allows you little short breaks from the story for these little side stories. It's really nice. And one thing I want to say is this is Juzo Itami's most famous movie. This is pretty well the only one most people know if they do know him. And I do want to give a big shout out because Criterion has a streaming service called Criterion Channel, and they have all of his movies on there. And I went on, at the start of COVID, I went on a binge and watched all 11 of his movies, and they're all good. They're all, some I like even more than this, and I just think, I'm waiting for the day Criterion makes a Itami box set, because I'll buy that right away.
We all know somewhere at Criterion, they're just writing these ideas, write it down! And for me to end, Bull Durham, baseball movie with Kevin Costner. It's a classic film. This is just if you had to just take anyone, whether they're a Criterion fan, whether they're just a regular fan, I feel like this is a movie literally anyone could enjoy. It's just so it's like one of those films that it feels like it's like a box office, like not a box office. It feels like a blockbuster type movie. But what is so amazing is it has like this incredible heart to it, to the point that it's almost a little like saccharine. But I mean, at the end of the film, there's just this huge scene of this very emotional scene, and I think especially for artists, it's weird that a baseball movie would be so connected to you, but like for me, Bull Durham is like a film about an artist, almost an artist of baseball, and what his life becomes and where it goes. And
it's one of those sports movies that's not a sports movie.
Yeah,
yeah. If you like the sport, all the better. But if you don't,
it's
you
not
can still
really.
get
It's
a
not
lot
really
out of it.
about sports. It's about other things, and it's incredibly funny. It's really a good time, and I feel like if you just like good characters and you like characters, especially like romances.
I don't know why I'm such a sucker for Tim Robbins.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, is that his name? Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, you got it.
He Hudsucker Proxy, not Criterion. Love that movie. One of the Coen Brothers' best.
And I think in general, the whole point we're trying to make here is this is not like a, Criterion. Just look outside of the box.
Yeah.
And Criterion helps you do that by giving you lists of movies that they might think are like important or have some sort of artistic merit. But I think what me and Joel are trying to say most simply, and what I'll kind of end with, is just look outside the box. If you see that top 250, push past the 250, go further and further and further until you find something else. That might be going on Criterion. That also might be just going to your local DVD store and looking throughout all those films.
I think, browsing spontaneously has been one of the best things I've done lately. I just go on Criterion Channel and I just like pick a movie, don't read anything, and hit play. And it's always a surprise because you don't know what you're getting. So even if you don't love the movie, you go through something that day that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, that would be kind of where I would end it off, is just explore films. If you explore films, you're going to expand your mind. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we appreciate you. Check out our selections. Maybe put your selections down in the comments of movies you like to expand other people's minds. Peace.
See you guys.
Bye.